Okay, so in this episode we continue on the floor pan and we do the second half. I have to say I'm not totally happy with the work, and you know I was doing lap welds for most of it, and towards the end I just said, right, I've had enough of that. It's already dark outside before I can get started today, so we're going to just quickly do a bit of work just to. So this is what it now looks like from above and from below. Okay, and I've spent ages going around pinholes, and I think I'm sure there's one or two in there still, but gonna have to splash out on some more paint. I managed to dig a hole in there and get, but I did have enough to. Today is Saturday. I'm feeling pretty good at the moment, so I'm feeling confident this is going to go remarkably well. I have no basis for that, but there we are. So the plan is to replace the back bit about there and up, just over here, to replace this bit down, and to replace this bit here, well, down like that, around the so we're going to use this piece of metal, and we're going to start by building this side of the lip that comes up. So we're going to put an inch on either side, because that should be enough. Actually, you know what we're going to do first is we're going to grind all the stuff off here. So with that ground down, we can have taken the the protective film off. Right, with that ground down, we can start. Okay, so hopefully I'm going to show some of me making the panel, and I haven't folded up this side yet because it's got a bit of an angle and things like that, so I'm going to leave that till the very end. I'm going to cut it first because of this bit here. It's different heights and things like that. But also, when I line this up, I've done this. This bit here is a bit too big, so when I did this fold, I put about 1/2 centimetre, I guess, too much spacing. Okay, so I don't know how well that comes out. But there we go. All right. So you can see that it lines up here, but this edge here. So I'm going to have to flatten this edge out and re-bend it. The less of that I have to do, the better. So what I'm actually going to do is I want about this much for here. So I'm going to cut about this much off. So I've got this bit. And then I'm going to come back and look at what else I want to cut off. trimmed this down now. I don't know why I cut this bit off actually, but I've still got enough left over. So the idea is that this will line up, to make sure it lines up on these. So this will, in theory, like that. There we go, that gets those lined up. So I need to trim just a little bit more off here to get that lined up. So I think I'll just do it from here, to be honest, and then see what it looks like. And I need to refold this. I'm going to refold this first to see how much of a difference that makes. And so I'm going to try to bring that in by about a centimetre, I guess. Is it as much as that? I'll remeasure it and check it again. It took me 3 goes of bending this to get it close, but I've concluded it's better to run it a bit, curl it up a bit early, because it's easier to bang it back out than it is the other way. So I'm a bit annoyed with myself now for cutting this off, because actually if I'd left it there, I reckon by putting cuts in here and here and here, I'd be able to then bend that piece of metal down, because I'd have 3 bits on the same plane. And if I do that now, I'm just going to run into that hole there. So I might still do that. In fact, I probably will. And then the same here as well. But before I do that, I need to make sure I'm always putting it back in the same place, and that it's lining up a bit better, because at the moment it's just a bit up here still, or back here. So maybe that's a reason for actually cutting it, is it's a bit off. If I line it up on one, then I might not worry about the other. Anyway, what I'm going to do is I'm going to put clecos in so that I'm putting it in where I want it. I'm going to go have a coffee break and then come back out to this. So I've got that sort of fixed down now, so that looks okay. Now obviously it's sticking up a lot here, but remember it's got to bend around, and I was just looking at what it needs to look like. So, you know, again, pulling this down a bit more, but that'll be okay. So I want to flatten this bit here, and flatten this bit, and flatten a bit along here, I think. Or I need to cut back further, and which is actually might be what I do, is I cut back to here, and so that I've already got the lip that I built before in there. So that's that. Now on this end I think I probably need to trim it off a bit as well, because it's sticking out over where it bends down at the moment. So I'm going to have to trim that back a bit as well. I need to trim around here because I don't want to cut into that. So I think I'm going to have my break. I'll come out and bang those bits out. I'll do that trimming, and then I'll look at cutting out, you know, a large section of this floor so that I'm not working with all of it in there. That should help me line it up a bit better, and all that kind of stuff. Yeah, so I think that's how I'm going to do it. I bought these second-hand clecos. 3 of them are broken. 3 out of the 8 are broken. First one, 5, 8. Oh, I must have had 10. So 3 out of the 10, 30% are broken. 3 haven't been used yet. So we'll see. That wasn't a great buy. So yeah, so I'm gonna do that, and then I'm still thinking about this bit here and whether or not it needs just the 1 fold or 2 folds. Oh, so that popped out. I'm not sure if I need to fold it once or twice here to get it to come over down. or if it runs the whole way across from the front straight and then folds down. Anyway, we'll find out soon enough. I haven't decided how to do that bit yet. So I've trimmed this corner out. I just need to take a little bit more, I think. There. I've flattened these two bits down. Now I need to trim this panel down. So this here is right at the lip where it folds over and starts heading down. So that's why it's all sticking out, partly why it's all sticking out so much at the top here. Okay, so you can see I've cut out a great big whack of it and cleaned it off. And you can see that hole there right on the edge. So I really want to take, I guess, that much off and come along here. And then I'd have a little bit of an overlap if I want it. Means I'm going to have a problem with that right there. So I think what I'm going to do, I think what I'm going to do first is I'm going to trim this down right to the edge, and then fit again and have another look. Right, we're progressing along. We've got it clecoed in place. There are also clecos here and here that just come in from underneath. Okay, so obviously this side isn't very tight, but I'm a bit less worried about that because I think I can cut this and bang it into place afterwards. So I'm not too bothered by that. We're raised a bit here, and it's because this is actually curved, so I think I need to flatten this bit here a bit, and I think that will help bring it down. You can see we've got quite a good fit along this edge apart from here and all along here. Need to trim it off of here a bit, and I haven't clecoed it on that rail yet, so we've got a bit of a gap there. But the bigger issue is right here, okay, and you can see I can get my finger in, and that's not surprising, because if we come underneath, we don't need this, let's get this out. Right, if we come underneath, we can see that we get a gap in here. So this is at an angle, and then this flattens out. So this needs to actually flatten out there. Okay, so from here it needs to flatten across. And you can see we've got a bit of a gap build up here. Now I think that gap build up is largely caused by this. Okay, which again, it's where I said it's a bit bent on the other side. So if I flatten that out, I think it will push this along to fit in here better, and we'll then let this come in. At least that's my hope. So I'm going to take it off again. I'm going to flatten this a bit. Alright, and I'm trying to decide if I'm going to make some cuts here on the curved bit so I can bend that down a bit. I'm not sure. Now this bit here is part of the original floor, and I did have the stand just holding it up a bit, because again it comes back to here, just here, and obviously I want that up. I'm going to weld, spot weld that back into place. Okay, now having spot welded that back into place, this also needs trimming off so that we don't get this overlap on both sides. So we'll do another trim there, and then I've got to decide what I'm going to do the rest of it, and I'm not quite sure yet. So, but we're working along. We're slowly getting there. We'll start with a couple of those trim bits. Did I say I was going to trim this bit as well? So we're going to trim a few bits, flatten a bit, take another look. It's Sunday. I haven't got long out here today. Oops. But what I've done is I've put some relief cuts in here, and I've folded that down, and this is a cleco from underneath here and here. So that's now sitting flush there. A bit concerned about this gap here still. So what I'm going to do next, and I've been looking at this coming back on here, and I think that will push down nicely, or just about. I've stood on it to make sure, and it feels like it's going in. So next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to get this floor back up here and redo these welds. Okay, and with those in place, and since I'm going to do that, I'm going to take this out and get it painted underneath and stuff like that, so that that is ready, and then we'll go from there. I've trimmed down this side a bit, which will make it easier to bend in place at the end. I've cleaned everything off. I've trimmed a bit more back here, but this is going to need work later anyway, because this is rusty. So before the member that goes back on here goes in, we're going to have to cut and fix this as part of the work on the transmission tunnel. So it's all been primed underneath. We've got the rust preventer stuff in the tunnels there, and so we're going to start trying to do some plug welds. Start with the ones we've got really good connection, and we'll move from there, and just squeeze them together elsewhere, so a bit of pressure, and you can see just a little bit of pressure there, and that comes up good. So we're going to start here and see how we go. Okay, so plug welds are in. I was using my Clark welder, the MIG one, the gas one, and ended up, I thought it was going well. I did this row column here, and took out the cleco at the end, and it popped out, the whole of them. So I cleaned them all off. I went to my static arc, the no gas welder, and I mean, I know it doesn't look pretty or anything, but it works. So right, so I'm going to stop now because I'm already running half an hour late now, and my tennis has been just pulled forward half an hour, so I'm running an hour late. So I'm not going to get a chance to clean up in here, which is what I plan to do. Nice mess. And I haven't had the car in for 2 days. I don't like leaving the stag out. So we're going to stop here for today. And then the plan tomorrow will be to tidy those up a bit and to go around and do all the welding around the edge. It's now Monday. Can't remember the date. It's the day after the NFC and AFC conference matches, so whichever date that is, 2022. And I have been out welding and grinding for the last 3 hours. So as you can see, we've got it welded in all the way along the side, along here, along the side, front, okay, and then we stop there. Same on the bottom. Everything is, so it's welded on both sides, so it's good and well and truly in there. I've also filled in these holes with weld and ground that flat so that this can come back in. I need to grind this down a bit here to get it flat so that that goes in okay. And I'm trying to decide what to do over here at the moment. And do I cut along here and do a butt weld and fix this bit at the same time, or do I just continue with my overlaps? I'm not sure how I'll get that piece of metal out if I do cut it out, but that's kind of a different worry. My inclination is to get this in nicely. I really need that out of the way, and so I think my inclination is certainly for this bit to cut it out. So before I do that, I'm going to have a little break, maybe even for the night. I haven't decided yet, and have a little think about it. Okay, I'm out next day. It's 1st of February, and I'm really not happy with doing this overlap welding. It looks even worse, so I'm going to revert to. I'm not going to strip this out and do it again. But I'm not happy with it, and so I'm going to revert to trying to butt weld. And I've started along here. As you can see, I've cut it out and started, and it already, in my mind, looks better like that. So we're going to continue on that basis. We're going to get that side in. We're then going to. I haven't decided what I'm doing here yet. I do have the piece that I made. It's whether or not it's worth trying to put it in or not. I think I probably will have to. Right, we're going to stop there. This isn't finished yet. You can see I've got gaps here, but my welder has just given out on me. It did fall apart once already earlier today, but that wire, there's a spring here which the wire feeds through, and that's just snapped. So I need to go and buy a new bit for the welder. So we're going to stop here, and we're going to end the episode here. I think it's going to be long enough as it is, if not too long. I think it's probably already well over half an hour. So we're going to stop here, and then so we're about 2.5 weeks in. No, we're about 4.5 weeks in, and I've not quite done 2 weeks of my target yet. So there we are. Oh, excuse me. So the next bit, I had a week for transmission tunnel. So over here we can see this is what we're going to be doing next, and so we'll do it as part of finishing this. We'll move on. We're going to have to fix this back in place because it's really rusted, and these I think are just a few holes, so I think that's not so bad. And on the other side we have a few holes, but not oh, and actually there we could just see that's beginning to crack through as well. So I guess those are for the seats, for the seat rails probably, and so we're going to have to get those back in the right place. But that's the next episode.